Could a blockbuster trade be coming for the Miami Heat in this NBA offseason? I know we're still in the middle of a series, but there are 4 players that have been rumored to maybe ask out this summer that I think the Miami Heat could be interested in to pursue in a trade package this offseason. I'm Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. We'll discuss everything. And I'll say this. These are the 4 players that were mentioned. There was a 5th player in the same article that was named, Domantas Sabonis from the Kings, but the Heat will not show interest in him. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, John Morant, LaMelo Ball, and Kevin Durant are 4 players rumored to potentially be traded. Some have more likelihood than others, a.k.a. Kevin Durant. He will be traded. But it's interesting to see these 3 players in Giannis, John, LaMelo be rumored to potentially ask out. And I do think the Heat would at least register at minimum a call of interest to these respective teams. Before we talk about each player and what the package could be for Miami this offseason, help us out by sharing today's video. Click the share button, select Twitter/X icon, click post to Twitter/X. Be greatly appreciated to help grow us here at the Heat Report. Spread the word. Let's make us the largest channel on Heat YouTube. Let's start with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Is he going to be asking out? Because I do believe there's a legit chance Giannis could ultimately end his tenure with the Milwaukee Bucks this offseason. Chris Haynes said during Game 2 of the first-round series against the Pacers this year that he doesn't think Giannis will finish his career with the Bucks. And obviously, he took them to the pinnacle. Him, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, they won a championship in that 2020-21 season. But ever since that year, it's been a bad 4-year stretch for Giannis and the Bucks. The year after they won the title, they lost in the second round to the Celtics. Then we obviously know what happened in the 2023 playoffs when the Heat, as the 8th seed, upset them in 5 games in the first round. But in back-to-back years, it looks like they will be first-round exits to the Indiana Pacers. They lost last year in the first round. Injuries to both Dame and Giannis were a major factor there. And then right now, as we're filming, they are down 2-0 to the Indiana Pacers again in the playoffs. Obviously, Dame missed a little bit at the end of the season and missed Game 1 of that series. But either way you want to slice it, I think the Bucks roster is cooked. Damian Lillard has the blood clot issue. He is back, which is great, but is that something that's going to hinder the end of his career and nag him going forward? It's potential. Brook Lopez is super old. Bobby Portis is old. They traded a franchise legend and icon in Middleton to get Kyle Kuzma, who put up a Tony Snell stat line in Game 1 of the playoffs. Like, if they ultimately lose in 4 or 5 games again in the first round, I think Giannis will seriously contemplate his future with the Milwaukee Bucks organization, which could make him someone on the trade market this offseason for Pat Riley and the Miami Heat to pursue. So predict it for me before we talk about what a package could be. Will Giannis ask out of Milwaukee this offseason and ultimately be traded? Type Y if you think he will. Type N if you think he will not. It's today's pinned comment, so if you hit with the YouTube ad break, scroll down, let it play, and answer today's question. I'm not sure if he will. I think it's a 50-50 chance. I got to be honest. I think you could flip a coin and go either way. But if Giannis was available on the trade market this offseason, you empty the tank. Whatever it requires to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, you do that. Now, I would try to keep Bam and Tyler Hero, because if you add Giannis as that 1 to your roster, with Hero as your 2, Bam as your 3, that is a roster that can seriously compete. But I would consider probably trading one of Bam or Hero to acquire Antetokounmpo. But in that dream scenario where you do not trade Bam or Tyler to get Giannis, this is what the package would likely have to look like from a financial aspect, but as well as a asset side as well. Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson kind of get you close to that Giannis Antetokounmpo contract of $55+ million. But you would have to send Kel'el Ware and you would have to send Nikola Jovic, your 2 best young assets on your roster. You'd also have to trade all 3 of your first-round picks that are tradable this offseason, the 20th overall pick via Golden State, the 2030 first-round pick that you have, and then the newly unlocked 2032 first-round pick that comes available to you on draft night in late June. You'd have to send all 3 first-round picks, your top 2 young assets in Ware and Jovic, and the matching salary of Duncan Robinson and Andrew Wiggins to potentially get Antetokounmpo from Milwaukee. And I'll tell you what, folks, if he becomes available and the Heat aren't able to get him because they didn't offer enough to the Bucks, would be nice to have that 4th first-round pick to trade on draft night, wouldn't have been? Yeah, I think making the playoffs this year will have more consequences than just making a selection in the draft. It would have allowed you to trade 4 picks potentially this offseason for a guy like Giannis or someone else that was available. Not going to happen. But this is what I'll say on Giannis for the last time. To me, it's the dream for him to ask out and him to come to Miami. You probably get outbid. A team like Oklahoma City, a team like Houston, a team like Brooklyn has way more draft capital than you, way better young players than you, and probably outbids you for the services of Antetokounmpo. But I will say, if you get Giannis, Hero, and Bam, yeah, that's a top 3 team in the East with Eric Spoelstra at the coaching helm as well. So let's hope that somehow happens, but I'm not going to get my hopes up too high. All right, let's transition over to Ja Morant, a player that Heat fans have asked me a lot about because Ja, ever since the Grizzlies were at the top of the Western Conference a couple of years ago, have had a couple down years in a row, and if they exit in the playoffs in the first round, which they're down 3-0 to the Thunder, and that's probably going to happen, could maybe ask out. Morant this past season played 50 games after only playing 9 games the year prior due to injury and suspension. Had a pretty solid season. Now, his three-point shooting is kind of regressing back to a poor number. You thought that he was going to continue to improve that three-point shot. Has not been the case, but an explosive athlete who can finish inside, can play making the pick and roll, is always going to be a player Miami's interested in due to the need at point guard next to Tyler Hero. But the truth is this when it comes to Ja Morant and pursuing him maybe in a trade. I'm out on Ja Morant. I am. Unfortunately, he doesn't play enough defense. He is not durable. And the off-the-court concerns just make me not want to trade a lot of assets for Ja Morant. I'm just not in on that. And I will say a Ja Hero backcourt would be awesome offensively, but would it be able to get the job done in the postseason when defense is a necessary evil to have? I'm not sure it would. And when you factor in the injury concerns, he's injured right now again in the playoffs. It's just a constant occurrence for Morant. And that's why I'm actually skeptical. It's not the off the court concerns that scare me the most. It scares me, but it's the injuries. I'm not in the business of trading a lot of assets for an injury-prone guard who, once he loses that explosiveness later in his career, will probably cease to be as effective. So I'm out on that. And especially when you factor in what the Grizzlies could be asking for Ja Morant, I think a package could look like this. It would be 2 big salaries in Andrew Wiggins and Terry Rozier for Ja Morant and Brandon Clark, and you'd probably have to send that 20th pick from Golden State and one of your 2030 or 2032 first-round picks. I'd prefer 2030. And I don't know if I'm in the business of sending 2 first-round picks for Ja Morant. I really don't. I know some people might say it's worth it. I don't think it is because of the injury history, the possibility that he's not as effective later in his career. I'm out on trading for Ja Morant when this is going to be the price point. All right, we got Kevin Durant and LaMelo Ball to talk about here, but we are sponsored by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy sports platform I play every single day. And with the playoffs here in basketball, don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your PrizePicks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Turn your playoff hot takes into tickets to basketball's championship series, starting with this first round. Every lineup you make on PrizePicks will enter you into the Takes to Ticket sweepstakes, which could get you and a +1 a VIP trip to the ship. And today is Flex Friday. Make sure you opt in and tap the checks box in your lineup builder to be eligible for the protected play. Choose squares for any game on the board. If your lineup does not win, you get your net losses back in promo funds up to your promo limit as soon as the lineup settles. I have an entry today, and I am using Flex Friday. More than Giannis Antetokounmpo, 33 points. Less than Benedict Mathurin, 12 points. And I'll go more than Peyton Pritchard, 3.5 3-pointers made. That is my Flex Friday of the day. Join me and the millions of others on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. All right, let's transition over to LaMelo Ball because I do find it interesting that he was labeled as a player that could maybe ask out of his current team and franchise. And if he did ask out of Charlotte, could the Heat be interested in the services of Ball, the former third overall pick? It's an interesting hypothetical. This is what LaMelo has done over the last 4 seasons, and I want to point out a specific number because when you look at the raw statistics, you're looking at a 6'7", 6'8" point guard that can dominate an offense. Similar to Trae Young, he is an engine to an entire offense. He can shoot it from deep. He can give you 8 assists plus a night, 20-plus points. The efficiency is not that good, but he's a volume scorer and a volume playmaker. But the reason why I wanted to show the last 4 years in total, look at the game played in 2022, 23, and this past season. I'm out on LaMelo Ball. We need a point guard. I do not think Ja is a good answer. I do not think LaMelo is a good answer. We showed LaMelo Ball's games played over the last 3 seasons. We talked about this on a live show. Zion Williamson, the person that is looked at as one of the most injury-prone, unable to stay on the court guys in the NBA. Well, guess what? Zion Williamson has played more games over the last 3 seasons than LaMelo Ball. LaMelo is one of the most injury-prone players in the entire NBA. And I don't think it gets talked about enough that he can't stay on the court. So when you factor in he doesn't play defense, he's inefficient, he's a high-volume guy, and he can't stay on the court, I'm not trading for LaMelo Ball. I'm not doing it. I'm staying away, especially when I think the package to get him would be pretty much the same thing as Ja Morant. Those 2 same first-round picks, Andrew Wiggins and Terry Rozier. I know people are going to say, you only send 2 first-rounders in salary for these guards. Like, the upside could be tremendous, and there's not that much downside. But I don't think it's smart for the Heat to do so. I do truly believe they should stay away from the injury-prone, non-defensive, inefficient guards. I really think they should stay away. I'm out on LaMelo Ball. I am. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, though. We are 59 subscribers away from 22K. Come on. Let's hit that sub button. Let's get to 22,000 subscribers today. Do it for Andrew Wiggins. I know a lot of Heat fans aren't happy with him right now, but why not get to 22K for 22 on the Heat? All right, last one we'll talk about today here is Kevin Durant. Out of all the players we're talking about on today's show, these blockbuster trade targets in the offseason for Miami, Kevin Durant is the only guaranteed player that will be traded this offseason. It's already been said by Shams, by basically the Suns, by KD. They are going to retool the roster around Devin Booker. They might buy out Bradley Beal, and they are going to trade Kevin Durant. And I said this after the trade deadline. I don't know if I would trade for KD. I would have traded for him at the deadline if you could trade Jimmy Butler for KD. But now that trade happened with Golden State, I wasn't so sure on a Durant deal because of his age, the need to pay him, and I'm not sure if he would be able to be the one on a championship team at this stage of his career with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. But I'll tell you what, folks, I am warming up to the idea of trading for Kevin Durant because I think the price point would be similar to a Ja, a LaMelo, and I think he would be more impactful for this Miami Heat roster. I mean, this past season, he played more games than LaMelo. He played more games than Ja Morant. He would have qualified for that All-NBA type award if he did not sprain his ankle with 2 weeks to go in the season. He had one of the better efficient scoring seasons in the entire NBA this year. He was a mainstay in that Suns lineup. I mean, look at the efficiency, folks. Still shooting above 50% from the field, 43% from 3, and giving you 26.5 a night. That's just incredible from him as this current iteration of his game and his age. Just so impressive. And I think his price point would actually be lower in a trade than a LaMelo or Ja because he is 36 and he is going to want another 2-year contract extension Not this year, but the year after. I think all you would have to do is match salary. You can do that by Andrew Wiggins and Duncan Robinson. I think you send them a young player on the perimeter, on the wing, in Jaime Jaquez Jr., and you send an unprotected pick in 2030. That might be a pick that interests the Suns, considering the fact in 2030, KD might not even be in the NBA anymore, and the Heat could be struggling if they don't win a championship and KD's off the team. So I think this is a package that I would do for Durant, and you get a front court of KD, Bam, and Khalil Ware with Hero at the 2, and then you find a guard to fit next to Hero in the offseason as well. That is a very fascinating prospect for the Miami Heat. You could package Rozier and that Warriors pick, or draft a guard with the Warriors pick, and you really fill out that roster. This is something that really, really, really could intrigue me. So we talked about 4 different trade ideas. Kevin Durant's trade idea was number 4. Let me know which one you prefer. Was it the KD one? That's 4. Giannis, that's number 1. John Morant, that's number 2. And then LaMelo Ball, number 3. Get down in the comment section and let me know which player that you would prefer when you take into consideration what I offered to each team. Let me know. Obviously, the number 1 choice is Giannis. I mean, if he comes available, you ship the house to try to get Antetokounmpo in Miami with Bam and Hero. And like I mentioned off the top, I would consider trading one of Bam or Hero to get Giannis, because the Antetokounmpo is a top 3 player in the NBA, in my opinion, behind Jokic. I think it's really him, SGA, and Jokic right now. Those are the top 3 in my opinion. If he became available, you go out and get him. I do not care. He's continuing to dominate day in, day out. I'm trading for Giannis. But I would rank Giannis 1, KD 2. I'd probably choose John Morant slightly over LaMelo at the 3 spot, and then LaMelo would be the last player I would trade for out of these 4 players we're talking about. And we will continue to have you covered all offseason long and the rest of this first-round playoff series for Heat Cavs. Hit that sub button for daily Miami Heat content. Join the channel today.